One day closer to the weekend. We've just got one left to get through, and we've got some issues with this low in Illinois that's heading northeastward, and the cold front that'll be moving through on Friday with the showers, thunderstorms, and severe weather. Meanwhile, we have severe weather tonight going on from the Ohio Valley on south into the eastern Gulf states and parts of the interior southeast. We'll have a look at the entire Memorial Day holiday weekend, and we will look ahead to next week in the long range. That is all front and center tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show minus one Joe. Joe Rayo's still on vacation. I'm Joe Chaffee. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Good to have you here. Hit the little subscribe button on my YouTube channel, and well, then you'll get notifications anytime you want to watch us. We're on Sundays usually at 11 a.m., Monday through Thursday at 7:30, Fridays and Saturdays when weather permits. Okay, those are our 2 days off. But if there's a storm going on, we move the schedule around just a little bit. So anyhow, I was looking at everything today. I didn't see a thing that changed my mind as far as the weekend is concerned in the Northeast and Northern Mid-Atlantic states. I think it's going to be good most of the time. Sunday and Monday are fine. Some minor issues on Saturday with the cold front moving through on Friday and the lagging upper trough. That really hasn't changed. But I think most of the day should be fine. There will be some scattered showers and thunderstorms running around on Saturday. I don't think they're going to amount to much. And if you get one, it shouldn't last all that long, and you should in fairly good shape. So the long range is kind of interesting. We've been talking about the fact that we've got the North Atlantic oscillation going negative, and that means that we get higher than normal pressures across the northern latitudes around Greenland and the North Atlantic, and as a result, the jet stream gets suppressed further to the south. However, this does not necessarily mean that we're going to automatically go into a gloom and doom pattern. We still have to figure out where the troughs and ridges are going to set up, and the pattern in the west is going to play a role in that, obviously. So we're still trying to figure all that out. I don't see anything that I would describe as gloom and doomish after we get through next week. Next week is it's going to get hot, particularly for Tuesday and Wednesday. We have a cold front that'll be coming on Thursday. See if that produces showers and thunderstorms. Interestingly enough, that front is going to be coming down from the northwest. And sometimes when fronts come down from the northwest, the wind is different. You don't get much of an ocean wind, and therefore you stand a better chance of seeing showers and thunderstorms along the immediate coast as well as an inland area. So we'll evaluate that once we get closer. We still have, of course, Friday to get through, and that's going to pretty much sum things up. So on that particular note, let me just acknowledge Chuck Cardillo. Thank you for the super chat hit, Chuck. Most appreciated as always. Chuck and I talk every day on my other weather platform on Patreon. So I'll sure to hear from you tomorrow morning on schedule. We'll discuss the issues of the day or the past day. Anyway, just a side note. If unless it's really looking terrible tomorrow with these showers and storms, I'm probably going to take the night off as well as Saturday and Sunday. So just to give you a heads up, uh, I need a break. And by the way, earlier this week I talked about being in uh, tech hell. Website wasn't working right. YouTube audio wasn't working right. My app wasn't working right. Well, 2 out of 3 are fixed. The remaining is the home and video page on the app, on the meteorologist Joe Chaffee weather app, is not working. But you can access everything if you hit the drop down menu. If you go to the New Jersey page, I have put the Joe and Joe Weather Show video there. You can watch the live stream from there, or Weather in 5 is also there, which I usually do earlier in the day. So on that note, let us now go to the first map of the day, and that is the map of the satellite loop of the Northeast, where we have what was really turned out to be an okay day for the most part. We've got some clouds that are coming in now, and there's also I notice it's just looks like maybe some kind of mid-level swirl going on here off the coast. It's not really producing very much of anything. I don't know why it did that. Now it's just decided to refresh itself. Okay, no matter. But there's no shower. There's nothing going on with respect to the radar. We don't expect anything to happen overnight other than these clouds that'll come in. That's going to hold temperatures up. They're going to have a tough time getting below 60 in most places. It's going to prime the atmosphere up for tomorrow. And if you take a look here on the lower left, you'll see the flashes on the what looks like enhancement there. Those are thunderstorms producing lightning strikes. And we like these satellite loops. Very, they give much more information in terms of what's going on. We also have a few of those cells moving through north central Kentucky and heading up into central Ohio. They had some pretty good downpours here in northeast Georgia. You see those showers and thunderstorms there have now moved into western South Carolina and over into western North Carolina. On the wider view, it's particularly active down near the Gulf Coast. A lot of lightning strikes showing up there on the Florida Panhandle and offshore. And the severe weather risk area tonight lies in this rather large geographic area from north to south, from the eastern Gulf states and the interior southeast up into the lower Ohio Valley. We still have that rotating upper low right here. There we go. And it's kind of plodding along very slowly. That's the one thing about this time of year. Everything slows down. The strength of the jet stream moving weather system along slows down unless you're up near the Canadian border. And even there, things don't move as quickly as they do in the wintertime. So uh, this thing's been back in Kansas yesterday, and it's only into East Missouri. So it really hasn't covered a whole lot of distance. But it's going to start to weaken now. It actually is already beginning to weaken. It's becoming a little more elongated northeast southwest. So that's good news. We were expecting this to weaken. The one thing we didn't want to happen was this upper low to maintain its strength or strengthen and then move straight east off the mid-Atlantic coast and then just sit here entire holiday weekend. Just think back to 2 weeks ago, in the early part of May, we went through uh, what seemed like an endless uh, stretch with a situation where we had the upper low moving off the east coast and eventually it southward and then back into the United States, finally opened up and then turned around and went on its way to the northeast. But it took almost a week for that to happen. This one's going to be different. This one is going to straight east. The problem is Saturday. And I know I'm jumping ahead here, but the problem for Saturday is the fact that your cold front's kind of right in here, but your upper low is lagging behind. So the leftover trough with this is going to come through on Saturday, and that's what we'll have to watch to see. It could probably the good thing here is that all the tropical air, all the solid forcing that could produce some severe weather tomorrow won't be there on Saturday. So it'll be a matter of whatever the upper low, whatever left of the upper low or the open trough is to create a very unstable atmosphere, in which case could wind up with some scattered showers and storms around. I don't think it's going to be widespread. I think there's a fair chance that if you're in the right spot, you may not even see it. You might be in a situation where you might see it in the distance and by you to your north or to your south. But other than that, we're okay. And then afterwards, just a second, folks. Afterward, there we go. I had to adjust my headset there. Afterwards, once that's gone, it sets us up for Sunday and Monday. Beautiful, dry, clear skies in the Dakotas, down into Texas, and of course, the Southwest. Just enough moisture to produce a couple of patchy clouds here and there. A lot more cloudiness as we head up into the Pacific Northwest. Take a look at what's on the radar tonight because it has been busy with warnings. And this moisture that's coming up is tropical in nature, and you're getting tornado warnings that are spinning up here ahead of the cold front. And also, because the system's moving slowly, the cells aren't exactly flying away uh, at 50 or 60 miles an hour. They're just kind of crawling along. So we're getting a lot of flash flood warnings, western South Carolina and on up into western North Carolina. You see green boxes there, and the yellow, the severe thunderstorm warning. There's a tornado warning, two tornado warnings up at the moment in western North Carolina and one South Carolina. And then in Ohio, we're seeing several severe thunderstorms and a tornado warning. Why don't I bring up Tornado HQ and going on some of these things? Watching this, folks, we are live right now at 6:12 Eastern Time. So watching this, obviously, later on this evening, you're going to see it on a replay. So the radars and satellites are dated. Please be sure to go to weather.gov to your local National Weather Forecast office to get the latest weather information regarding severe weather in your particular uh, location. We have a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado warning for the county of Adams in Ohio, Wilkes County in North Carolina, severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado, and another tornado warning, and this one covers Alexander, Caldwell, and Catawba County in North Carolina, and one that's going to expire in 2 minutes in Fleming County in Kentucky, severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. So none of these tornado warnings are indicating that we have an actual tornado confirmed. I want to make that clear, but the warnings are up. These things can spin up fast, and then as fast as they spin up, they can spin down, and sometimes you get the ones that last for quite a long time and cover a large amount of distance. The Storm Prediction Center, that's tomorrow, but let's go back to tonight and take a look at that. And we've got a large area of slight risk indicate. Looks like they merged the two areas now on an update to cover Indiana to Illinois and Ohio down to Kentucky and Tennessee, eastern Tennessee, northeast Georgia, western part of South Carolina, and western North Carolina. Now, there's been no change in the risk area for tomorrow. This was what they put out yesterday. Kind of left it alone. I think they looks like they might have done a little nudging there in central Pennsylvania, pushed the slight risk south. But we have slight risk from the New York State, Jersey, Pennsylvania, where they meet, is in slight risk. Eastern flank is just to the west of New York City and down the Garden State Parkway. And then it continues on south into East Carolina and then turns back up central North Carolina and central Virginia and the marginal risk around that. Notice the sharp cutoff, though, of the marginal risk line. I mean, go from slight to marginal to general thunderstorm activity, and it cuts Long Island pretty much in half, and kind of goes north from there in western Connecticut, western Massachusetts, northwestern Vermont, and northernmost New Hampshire and northern Maine. Don't want to leave out the marginal risk in Montana, northern Wyoming, western North Dakota, and western South Dakota. I'm just going to go back to today's because I left out what's going on in the Pacific Northwest. We're seeing a marginal to slight risk from Oregon into Montana, slight risk inside of that. The tornado risk tonight is 2 to 5%. We've got a 5% tornado risk in an area from central Tennessee, northeastward through Kentucky, southern Ohio. Tomorrow, by the way, the tornado risk is uh, 2 to 5%. In fact, they looks like they've nudged the 5% now a little bit further to the north in western New Jersey, not quite into northwest New Jersey, like it gets into Hunterdon County, and then back into most of southeast and south central PA, right on down into North Carolina. I don't think they're going to nudge this up to an enhanced risk. You never know. They see things that I can't see, so you always give them the benefit of the doubt. We'll see what SPC does with their overnight forecast. No real change in the rainfall forecast. A lot of this is front end loaded. In other words, a lot of this is coming for tomorrow. The next chance of anything after that probably won't be until next Thursday. Saturdays will be scattered stuff, so it won't be amounting to too much. But we're still looking at basically a quarter of an inch or less. Most of the coastal areas from Maine down to Delaware, and then western New Jersey, westward in Pennsylvania, where tomorrow it could conceivably rain a lot longer for a longer period of time. Storms will probably weaken a bit as they move east. So we're looking at anywhere from a half to maybe as much as an inch, inch and a quarter. And of course, some of these thunderstorms wind up with some local amounts that are even higher. That goes all the way down into Florida, seeing 3/4 of an inch to an inch and a half or a little higher. Oklahoma northward up to Minnesota. Lots of precip up in Montana of up to 2 or 3 inches in the next week. And also in the Pacific Northwest, we're seeing maybe an inch to as much as some inch amounts inland. Getting a little bit of rain in parts of the dry southwest in northern Nevada and in northern Utah, northwestern Colorado, but is yet to penetrate the areas further south into Arizona and California and southern Nevada. Kind of compromise between Nevada and Nevada. So Nevada, I'll say it really fast. All right, let's take a look at we'll look at the teleconnections. We head next 2 weeks, and today's were kind of interesting. We're seeing the NAO now decisively going negative by maybe starting on Tuesday. It approaches the line and then goes negative by about one standard deviation of the mean. The black line is the average of all the GFS members in the ensemble forecast. A lot of members go down. Some of them go down to as much as 2 standard deviations. Then you have a whole bunch of them that are less than 1, but they're all negative. So that makes that makes sense considering what's happening across the Atlantic. Got one lowly member that wants to keep the NAO slightly positive. But I've seen it happen sometimes where it looks like it's going to be negative, negative, negative days, and then all of a sudden it flips and it goes positive. The only thing I would say is that when you get into this time of year, the teleconnections are not as volatile forecasts because the atmosphere getting ready for summer, so you have fewer weather systems around, so things that tend to be a little bit calmer when it comes to model forecasts going forward. The PNA, I think, the Pacific North America Index, which measures the pressure changes across North America, particularly the West Coast and into the Pacific, and the East Coast and the Southeast U.S. It's kind of interesting today because it's been trending. Last few runs have been trending. I don't want to say further north, but they've been trending where toward the neutral line, and even now the mean is slightly above the neutral line, and that's kind of important because if we wind up getting what some of these members are indicating here that are going up to about 1 standard deviation positive, that could become a problem with regards to getting into a gloom and doom scenario at some point after next week. But for now, we're just going to kind of go with the idea that still uncertainty of as to how this is going to wind up in the longer term. Remember, you could always have these teleconnections cover a very wide geographic area. They tell you the general pressure pattern, but they do not tell you much regarding where exactly the weather system is going to be and how they are going to behave. So, taking a look, we'll do the European, and then we'll take a look at the new GFS, which should be out far enough to get some value out of it. So there's our upper low wrapped up quite nicely in Missouri. And you've got a ridge along the East Coast. That's where we're sitting today. And that starts to move along. Again, we talked about the system. We talked about the system in the northern stream. That's right up here. There, right there. And here's your southern stream system. So the fear was that this northern system would sort of move along past this by, and that it would get left over, it would get left behind sort of a no man's land off the Carolina coast. Things are a little bit different this time around. That northern system gets in there. opens up the upper low, trough moves on through. The only issue is the fact that the front coming through tomorrow night and the upper trough kind of lags Saturday, and that's why we have to throw in that chance that there could be scattered showers. And after that, it's gone. And in fact, it's already gone by Saturday afternoon at 5 p.m. It's already up into New England. So maybe we'll get some stuff around midday and that, or early afternoon, and that'll be it. And then here comes the ridge that builds in the part of the United States, and this is going to set up for some heat. We're kind of going to be on the edge of this, and that is a little concerning from the standpoint that it could open up the possibility that we get into a situation where the winds are going to be more west or even northwest. So that could push temperatures up. I think there's a fairly good chance that we're going to see a large area of low and middle 90s, and maybe even areas getting up into the middle and upper 90s if we don't have any cloud issues and the wind does indeed become west or west northwest. The high center, we're used to seeing ridges building off the East Coast. This one actually builds west in Ohio, where the high is centered. So the ridge is actually centered just to the west of 80 degrees west. Got troughing out in the western part of the United States right here, and you also have this upper low leftover system. I think that's the leftover. And yes, it is. So the leftover system for Friday and Saturday comes an upper low over Newfoundland. So you've got two deep troughs on in between, allowing for a big ridge to build in the middle. Now, eventually, what's going to happen is that ridge in Ohio is going to break down as fast as it builds. So if it does get hot, we're talking Monday, not so much. I don't regard middle to upper 80s necessarily as hot. I usually call that very but Tuesday and Wednesday, and then depending on the timing of the next cold front, might linger into Thursday. We'll have to see with that. But you see how the jet stream, the ridge is gone, and the jet lowers. Also very interesting here is the fact that the upper low over Newfoundland is actually forecast by the European to rotate around and then go westward back across eastern Canada and into Hudson Bay. So this is out 10 days from now. So eventually that'll swing a trough around. Also, we see what is a very strong Pacific jet coming in at the end of the forecast period. And that will probably, maybe this one has a shot of bringing some wet weather places that might need it. But again, that's in the now let's look at what the GFS does, because more than likely it's going to be something totally different 10 days from now. What the European is showing. No, it's not that different, really. It's got the same long Pacific jet. It's got the upper low in Hudson Bay, and we're sort of at the base of the westerlies. There's a little ridge there off the southeast coast. So I'll go backwards, see how we get to this point. My suspicion is probably get there a little differently the way the Europe has it. There you go. Oh, here we go on the GFS. Same idea in the short range. Lifts up, ridge builds, and then you get this next upper low that forms back out in near Lake Winnipeg. Low, we're sort of right at the base of the westerlies here, so it doesn't look like, once we get through whatever we get heat-wise, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe into Thursday before down, then we should probably see temperatures trend back a little closer to average, although it might still be above. And then the Pacific comes roaring in there. Take a look at this. This is one of these. See, now here's the thing. What I was saying before about how the troughs set up, and of course we know that when we get out beyond 7 or 8 days, this could be totally different when we look at it tomorrow. It's already totally different from what it was earlier and what it was yesterday. But what is the same is you still have these higher than normal pressures building along 40 degrees north up into Greenland. You also have a big upper high up in Western Canada. That's kind of interesting. Creates this split flow. So again, if this verifies, this might be a little helpful for the Southwest. It will be getting hot across the Southeast and the Gulf states, big upper high that it was sitting down there in the Gulf. This is now we're looking at June 11th, so we're ahead. But again, it could be different. How these systems behave. One of the things I noticed here with the GFS, for example, is it gets in the same place that the European does, but it does it differently. It does that the upper trough here it that swings around actually doesn't park itself near Newfoundland, but more in Labrador, and then eventually just gets ejected out toward Newfoundland and then way to the north there. You got another system that evolves Western Canada that gets to Lake Winnipeg. So you sort of get to the same place, but you do it in two different ways. Ultimately, either way, the day-to-day weather in the eastern part of the United States will probably be unaffected by all of this. So let's talk about tomorrow because it's getaway day for the Memorial Day holiday weekend. And loading, which reads here. Full U.S. map to get everybody can get a view from wherever they are. Here's our surface map for this afternoon. Go 12Z run. I want 18Z run. It's out to 192 hours. Okay, so that'll take us out 8 days. And here we've got our low going well to our north and west. Showers and storms. I kind of think the GFS is rushing it a little bit. There might be some renegade stuff that forms late tomorrow morning or early afternoon ahead of the main area of thunderstorms that'll come through later Friday afternoon and evening. Then on Saturday, you see the upper trough producing showers up in Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont. But on the southern end of it, there's not a whole lot. Why I'm thinking optimistic. And actually, if we looked at the NAM, I didn't look at the new NAM, but I looked at the old NAM run, and it suggested that Saturday you'd hardly get anything at all. So after that, it's gone. We're into Sunday. It's great. Hardly any rain from the Central Plains east. A couple of pockets in South Florida, another area up in northern Minnesota. That's it. And then Monday, Tuesday, it's Tuesday morning. It's bone dry everywhere east of the Mississippi. And you see how the isobars are. That's why I'm just talking about the temperatures coming up for Tuesday and Wednesday. The isobars are like your high is out here, another high that's centered over in Kentucky and Tennessee. Make great weather for me down here in the southeast. Love that. The areas in east Pennsylvania to southern New England with a west or northwest wind, you're gonna cook. So you'll see your temperatures climb up into the low and mid 90s. As I said, outside chance you might even go a little higher than that. Here comes a front for Thursday, a couple of showers, a thunderstorm, that, and then we'll turn a little cooler and drier behind it. Am noticing, by the way, look on the bottom of the screen, see that the GFS does again try to bring something out of the Caribbean there and kind of moves it northeast into the Bahamas. European today, I believe, is still doing the same thing it's been doing, is trying to form something from a leftover hurricane on the East Pacific side and moving it into the southwestern Gulf of Mexico. See it right there. This is on Sunday, June 5th. We're out at 240 hours. So same rule applies. There's something there at 162 in the southwest Gulf. Take a look on the Western Atlantic view. Probably we'll see better on. See here how it gets there. I'll roll it back. There's your probably be a hurricane or a strong tropical storm there that comes in along the coast of Mexico, and then that moisture just drifts, and the surviving little intact low-level swirl might survive the mountain trip, and then Gulf of Southwest Gulf get trapped there. So we'll take the point where in there. It's at 168, so we're still not quite into the 7-day time frame, and another whole day has passed. So again, we'll take it seriously if it indeed does get in there. We'd like to see this move in a natural progression as each day passes. It's one day closer, and you still see it. It's still there. When it does these things where it sort of gets stuck in one time frame and never advances beyond it, you have to begin to call into question whether it's real or not. So we will view this with the a fair amount of skepticism that it deserves until such time that we start to see it to move inside the 7-day time frame, and then you can come talk to me about it. Okay, so I think that sort of covers it. You know what? One other thing regarding the severe weather. Before I do that, I just lost who gave me the super chat. We've got Mark G. Thank you, Mark. Most appreciated. Deserve a holiday weekend off. I can't drink. If it's going to be drink, it'll have to be water. A cigar I can get away with. And Chuck Cardillo. That's right. We had Chuck Cardillo hitting super chat tonight. Thank you both very much. All right, one more thing. Let's go back to the let's go back. Let's go to the NAM for tomorrow. This is important with respect to severe weather potential. They do have that 5% rain risk, and I want to respect that. Use the new NAM. I want to take a look at the 700 bar. I like to look at the winds at the 10,000 foot level and look at these jet streaks, brown and these brown spots that you see there, because those are indications that we're getting wind shear and thunderstorm development. And just rolling this back night, see where the jet streaks are in western North Carolina. This is at 11 p.m. tonight. They move up into western Pennsylvania and they start to swing eastward. You see also a couple tomorrow that form down that cluster there down in Virginia and Maryland. Gonna have to watch this northeastern Virginia and Maryland as that moves. And you still got some jet streaks when it nears the coast, but they're not that impressive to tell you the truth. A few more back to the west, and then of course you get them with the upper trough. But if everything else in the atmosphere is not setting up for thunderstorms, you're not going to see anything severe. And my guess is we probably won't have any severe else to deal with Saturday. I did notice, by the way, on SPC's forecast for Saturday that they have a marginal risk in eastern Maine. Makes sense. And after that, it's gone. So there's some solid jet streaks there at the 700 millibar level. So I wouldn't be shocked if we wind up seeing a couple of tornadoes pop up in that risk zone, particularly in that 5% risk zone that was indicated by SPC that we should earlier. So sorry, I don't think I had the maps up. I'll just run it through again. I did map up. There. Oh, I have it behind. Technology, Joe Rayo likes to say. Yeah, take a look here. Those jet streaks there. Dark black, brownish, dark brown, blackish spots that form. This is tomorrow. This is this evening. This is Friday night. I'm sorry. Right in here. You see them how they come out of North Carolina, move through Virginia, and those are going to be coming into an area where there's going to be some daytime heating tomorrow underway. So if I Northeast Virginia, Maryland, into Southeast PA, and Western Jersey, except maybe the Northwest, I would be a little cautious. Thunderstorm might have a couple of clusters, a couple of cells, and who knows, maybe even a tornado or two out of the mix. Now, take this away. Uh, back and Chairman Scott Briller, thank you so much for that. Yeah, I was toying with the idea today that I should I just start it today and not do a show today? But then I said, you know what? I'm not really doing anything. So why don't we show tonight like we usually do? Then we'll leave it to Friday and Saturday and Sunday to take some time off. I'm not sure. I think Joe's back sometime in the middle part of next week. I haven't heard from him, which is a good thing because that means he's out there enjoying himself and having a good time. Now, hitting the show every day is it's not easy. In some respects, it's easy to do the show from the standpoint of because I'm talking about stuff that I know. If you talk about things that you know, all of us do that. You know, if you talk about things that you know, you could wind up talking all day long. But there's some prep involved, and I've got other things that I'm doing with websites and everything else, and sometimes by the end of the day, I'm sort of mentally fried. That's why those late starts usually. But I was able to push. Let me push it back to 6 o'clock. I'll have an early dinner. I did, and I've got. I had salmon tonight. Nice. 17 minutes. Nice piece of salmon in the oven. No stick pan with a little bit of cook spray, oil spray. 17 minutes because I like it a little bit underdone, and it was really good. Uh, I've done that with salmon, with steelhead trout, and it was very, very. So anyhow, Tom, I got your email. So yeah, I'm not, I don't want to go through it all over again with regards to talking about the general rule on this on the chat board, folks. And I, through all the time that we've gone through this, I rarely jump in and stop conversations unless they're really egregious as far as what someone is saying. I mean, truly off the wall. The one thing I really stick to though is the fact that if before the show is on and you guys are all talking to each other, you can talk about anything you want. Okay. Once the show starts, it's kind of a weather focus. I mean, it's a wide latitude, but if you start going into totally different subjects that have nothing to do with what's going on, if you talk about the Met game being canceled or the Yankee game being canceled, I don't care about that. That's fine. Start to get into stuff that's political, avoiding to try to say that. But if you start getting into nonsense, no, that doesn't belong here during the show. It's distracting. It's distracting to the people who they're trying to watch the show. It's distracting to Joe and I to see it. So enough. And I've been very, very see about taking people off. But if I happen to have to start getting strict about it, I will do. Brandon Humphreys would like to know if I drink alcohol, what's my favorite beverage or bottle or beverages or bottles plural. No, I enjoy a glass of wine, which I can't have anymore because of the fact that I have Crohn's disease. So I'm still trying to figure out what I can and can't eat, what I can or can't eat and drink. So I've been laying completely off the alcohol, but I was never a drinker for whatever reason, genetically maybe. Uh, Alcohol and I never had a good relationship. I could never hold it down. So I could have one glass of wine, wouldn't be a problem. Glasses of wine, I'll probably fall. I don't get, but wine doesn't make me sick. And I can drink dark beers like Sam Adams, for example, without any problem. But anything else, would I have more than one drink, I get so sick to my stomach. So I have no idea what it feels like to get, I don't know, even, I've often said I never understood people drink to the point of getting drunk because it made them feel good. And I could remember instances when I was young. Video dropped out again for some. I remember instances where I was young, where you're young teenagers, uh, early 20s, people would drink themselves to sickness, And I quickly realized I'm doing this to myself on purpose. Why? And I never liked the feeling, by the way, at least for me, it never made me feel good. It always made me feel out of control. And as if I were, that's probably why I don't like roller coasters. So I don't like the feeling of not being in control of the surrounding environment. So at that point, I said, you know what? This is not for me. I'm not doing it. So a glass of wine every once in a while. I have a cigar, I would have a glass of wine with it, or maybe a glass of port, which I really liked. But beyond that, nope, that's it. That's as far as it went, as far as drinking. Yes, David Schwartz, it is rough to deal with. Uh, yeah, it's, and the thing is, the frustrating part about Crohn's disease, by the way, is for those of you who don't know what it is, basically your immune system is attacking your intestines, and it causes them to become inflamed, and they just don't function correctly. So you feel like you have to go to the bathroom all the time. Number two, all the time. On top of that, you produce enough methane that the government would regard you as somebody that they need to do carbon capture on. So uh, the problem with it is there's no you can't they can't give you a diet of what you can and can't eat and say, oh, you can eat everything in column A, don't eat anything in column B, because everybody is different. What affects one person badly does not necessarily affect another. So, for example, I find that I actually can handle milk, and I've talked to a few people who have Crohn's disease, and they're like, really? Yeah, I can handle milk. I can't handle coffee anymore, caffeine or decaf. So I had to switch over to tea. So I drink chamomile tea and decaf green tea. Uh, I also found today at the store they had one of my favorites, which is peach green tea, decaf. So I can do that. So so you basically spend the first couple of months kind of going through all these different foods to see, well, does this bother me or not bother me? Sauerkraut, and by the way, uh, if you look online, it's like schizophrenia with regards to what they tell you you can or can't eat. You'll see it. It'll say eat yogurt, don't eat yogurt, eat cabbage, don't eat cabbage, and I realized almost immediately like I'm wasting my time here. Doctor told me to just go ahead and eat whatever I wanted, figure out, and you're gonna just have to figure out, keep a diary of what you can and can't. Butter doesn't work for me, and I'm very sad because I've always said that if I only had 10 days to live, this is what a child said, and if I only had 10 days to live and one food to choose from, what would that food be? And my answer is butter. I love butter. My grandson is the same way. He loves butter. So, uh, so sauerkraut, for example, is great for me. I find that it really has helped a lot. In fact, when I was sick, back late last fall and through Christmas time, I don't even know why, it was bizarre, but I had a craving sauerkraut, which I've never had a craving for sauerkraut. I love it on hot dogs, but other than that, I never really thought about it. But I've been eating a lot of low mayonnaise coleslaw and also sauerkraut with whatever I'm having for dinner, and it has helped quite a bit. I don't know if the Crohn's effect caused the appendix problems. That's one of those things that I'll never know. Uh, uh, regards to regards that. Um, yes, I don't have a cat, Stephanie Romaine Abear. Pronouncing that. I apologize if I got it wrong. Um, I although I love cats, I have my dog, and he does what he always does. And no, Tom, I did not have well, you know what? Let me just correct that. Thinking back, I've been having stomach issues on and off for quite a long time, but they always went away. So No, I'm looking back, it's quite possible that I've had this all along for a long time. It's just that now it hit me in a really, really solid way. I mean, just very, very hard punch that I got. Soft drinks are off the list. I've tried having a Coke every once in a while, and it's like, gassy. So I kind of stay away. All right, folks, enough. Time to get ready for the holiday weekend. Please have a good and safe holiday weekend. If the severe weather gets out of hand tomorrow, I may jump on and do a quick show. I don't think I will be able to, but if I can, I will try. Otherwise, just going to take a few days off, and maybe the next time up will be next Monday evening at, depending on if Joe's not back, we'll do it again at 7 o'clock Eastern Time next Monday evening. Posts will continue on my Patreon platform, patreon.com/meteorologist Joe Chaffee. If you're interested, it's a great way, and it's actually a cheap way to support me. You can join for as little as $2 a month, and I put weather posts up there, different talk about different things weather-wise. You can message me anytime, and I get back to you, and I try to get back to everybody in a timely fashion. So have a great night and a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.